The world of Jujutsu Kaisen is full of sorcerers with unbelievable powers that help them dominate the world and overcome threats that otherwise couldn't possibly be beaten. And from what we're presented, the average sorcerer just kind of fades into the background. Characters like Ino and Utahime are still loved by fans, but never get the spotlight on them for very long. So it's very easy to just mark them down as weak characters, due to how top-heavy the main cast of the story is. One character who suffers from this more than any other character in the series is Kazumi Miwa, otherwise known as Useless Miwa. She is a second-year student at Kyoto High. She has no curse technique and is just trained in Simple Domain by Kusakabe. She originally became a sorcerer because she has a lot of bills to pay due to having a huge family. When we first meet her in Season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen, she's a grade 3 sorcerer, which a lot of people would mark down as weak. Now, to understand Miwa, it is very important to know how the grading system in Jujutsu Kaisen works. Because between just a special grade and a first grade, there is a huge gap in power. Now, the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, there is 4 ranks a sorcerer can achieve, with 5th being reserved for a very few amount of people. And even the first grade is very hard to come by. So even being a second grade sorcerer doesn't mean you're weak by any means, it means you're quite above average. But what about a third grade? Well, it's more like the grade reserved for the common sorcerer. However, the question this video presents isn't, is Miwa an average sorcerer? It's, can Miwa beat an average sorcerer? So first, let's go over her abilities. She is able to use 2 different kind of new shadow style techniques. The first being Quick Draw, which allows Miwa's body to react to anything that enters her domain with immediate reaction. And of course, Simple Domain, which negates the attacks of domains and sorceries. This ability works by Miwa using a binding vow so that she can perform these techniques as long as both feet are firmly planted on the ground. So how does she perform in her fights? Well, her first fight timeline-wise was when she was fighting some of Geto's curses in Jujutsu Kaisen 0, alongside the other students from Kyoto High, which she managed to slay a few curses that were probably just grades 3 to 4. So not very much we can go on, it's basically just an expected performance of a grade 3 sorcerer. Next up is the school exchange event, where she encountered 3 students, Inumaki, Maki, and Yuji. First up was her and the rest of the Kyoto students versus Yuji, where she really just tried to get one attack off on him and then he managed to dodge it. Though it is mentioned she was holding back since Miwa does actually have a heart. This doesn't take points off of her though, since it's said that even if everyone jumped Yuji at this point in the story with no cursed energy, he'd win. Next up is Miwa versus Maki. Now, although Maki is a grade 4 sorcerer, it's important to remember that she's only a grade 4 sorcerer because her clan is preventing her from moving up in the world. She's actually pretty easily a grade 1 sorcerer. She was even able to react Hanami's attacks, who is said to be as strong or a little weaker than Jogo due to her elemental debuff. When Miwa is fighting her, she says that if she was fighting Maki for real, she would have died 3 times already. But when Miwa uses her domain, Maki has to trick her into getting into close quarters by throwing her broken spear at her. Now the last fight we see from her in Season 1 is just when Inumaki puts her to sleep. It's not really a fight, but it's not a downplay because Inumaki is actually a pretty strong sorcerer that not a lot of people really give credit to. But nonetheless, she fell for the trick. Now in Season 2, Miwa only has 1 fight, which is against Kenjaku, which went exactly how you think it went. Now, does this look bad? Yes. But this is the Kenjaku. He beat Choso and Yuki, one of the 4 special grade sorcerers. So this happening doesn't make her weaker than the average sorcerer because the same thing would have happened to any other sorcerer at the grade 3 rank. And after that, Miwa doesn't have any more fights, since through a binding vow, she lost the ability to wield a sword. So with no more feats and based off of her performance, it seems like Miwa might just really be useless. However, she does have one more feat. I know it's nothing big, just holding her simple domain against Sukuna's domain. I know this is like an off-brand malevolent shrine and it looks like it's falling apart, but this is the Sukuna. It doesn't matter if it's blind, no arms, no legs, just had a hard fight, cursed energy exhausted, it is still the Sukuna. And if any regular sorcerer tried this, they would be cut into pieces into a matter of milliseconds. Now, I'm not going to scale Miwa too high for this, of course. It's just holding up a counter spell, really. So I'd probably mark Miwa down at grade 2 level. So compared to the regular sorcerer, she is no joke, but she's not going to be throwing hands with someone like Nanami or any of the other grade 1s. Now, Miwa versus Utahime, on the other hand, that's a video for another day. Hi everyone, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I've always liked Miwa, so I'll take any chance I can to talk about her. And as for the next video coming up, it might finally be time to actually drop the Itachi video. So I'll see you all then.